name is Paul Schmidt. I am the leader of the Illinois Paranormalists. We're a ghost hunting club. It's been around 11 years. I've been ghost hunting 20 years. So, and sorry. The other people here are also very experienced. We had the privilege last year of being kind of brought into the TAPS family. For those of you who don't know, TAPS is the Atlantic Paranormal Society. It is one of the original ghost hunting groups and one of probably the original TV show that featured ghost hunting. And it's what spurred almost all the rest of us to get into it, because I've always been fascinated by the paranormal and did not know until I watched that show that people actually go out and do that kind of thing. So then I started doing it. And after spending some years in other clubs, I started my own club. And that's what we've been doing. And we have made Chris and Ron are on the line. They both are experienced, and they used to run their own club. So it's a couple of experienced people here. But we really, again, had the privilege of being inducted into the TAPS family. The TAPS family is a network of different clubs across the country that help out when people contact the main, TAPS, the main group, and they can't go everywhere. So, unfortunately, we got one really good caller here. They turned it over to us, but try as we might for like 2 weeks, could not get through. Happened to be the sheriff of Cook County, the jail, and it would have been really neat. But I called, I emailed, did everything. So did other people. We could not get through. But anyways, that's what we're around for. I believe there are 3 clubs in Illinois that are members of the TAPS family. And again, like they used to do it, I guess, regularly, but due to the pandemic, they stopped doing it, but they have what they call a family reunion. And this year they started it again, and we went to Gettysburg, of all places, which has always been on my bucket list of places I wanted to go. And we did go on, my wife's not a ghost hunter, but we were really impressed by Gettysburg, how nice the area is, how nice the people are. People, super, super friendly. So we just figured we'd talk a little bit about what we experienced and what happened, and just so y'all get to know. We also, by the way, I should mention, just started a newsletter, and the first article is about our visit to TAPS. I want to let Chris and Ron talk, if you have whatever you want to say.
Okay, it was a really cool trip. It's also been on our bucket list forever. I've always wanted to visit the field even before I got into paranormal investigation, but this was just amazing. We got to go to the orphanage and
Jenny Wade House.
Jenny Wade
Wade,
House,
yeah.
that's right.
Jenny Wade.
Yeah, and it was very interesting. You can still see where they broke down the wall to get her body through, so it was away from the Confederates. Just very cool place to be. And then we're in the orphanage, and all of a sudden my son says, "They're here." Who's here? The ghost hunters. I said, "No, they're not." He's like, "Come look." I looked, and there's Jason standing right there. So that was really cool.
Yeah, the paranormal aspect of it. I had been to Gettysburg before when I was probably in junior high, but I'd always wanted to go back. I've got a degree in history and wanted to walk around the battlefield. That was the high point for me. The paranormal investigation stuff, that was just the icing on the cake.
Yeah, I would have loved to have gotten some evidence, but I really didn't get much. A lot of it was noise pollution because there's so many cars and people going through the battlefield all the time. It'd be nice to do it at night, but they don't let you do that.
And some of those things like the Jenny Wade House and the orphanage are right downtown. And Jenny Wade, by the way, is the only civilian killed in the battle. And it was accidentally the Confederate snipers shot her by accident. But Still, both places are known as being highly haunted. There was also a bus tour to a couple sites. I know you two went on it. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We went to what's the name of the bridge? Can't remember the name of the bridge, but it's a famous bridge where on the banks right below the bridge, people had dragged the dying soldiers. And so apparently you can hear moans and cries sometimes down there. I got some really cool pictures that were just kind of eerie looking for my daughter. That was really cool. And then we also went to Gettysburg College. There's a building there with a big clock on it. And apparently, a couple had made a suicide pact and they went up there to jump off the building. She jumped off. He did not, however. So, reports there are that you can see her walking around looking for him, or you can hear her, you know, moaning and such. So, that was really cool.
Yeah, and then the blue boy at the dormitory.
Oh, the blue boy. Yeah, there was a building that was a girls' dormitory at the college. And there was a little boy from the orphanage that had kind of taken off during the night from the orphanage and gone to the window of these girls. And he was sitting there and he's like, I'm really hungry. Can I have something to eat?
Yeah, so that was at the Gettysburg College, from what I remember. There's this white house there that was a women's dormitory. And one day, a little boy from the orphanage had walked over to the women's dormitory and had knocked on the door. And two girls let him in and brought him into their room. Back then, it wasn't allowed to have boys in the women's dormitory, so they had taken him in, and all of a sudden, something like the RA or something like that, whatever the equivalent of an RA back then was, decided to do a dormitory check. So they had decided to hide this boy, to put him outside of their window onto kind of like the window ledge. And it was freezing winter back then at the time. And they went, okay, we'll come back and we'll get you. And they checked their room, and they still kind of suspected something. So they brought all of the women down there for a meeting. And the meeting went for a long time, and supposedly they came back and the boy was gone, and supposedly he had frozen to death. And now people say at the Gettysburg College that they see the face of a little blue boy in their window. Supposedly it's that frozen little boy in their windows at night, I thought it was an interesting story.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. You're talking about the college. In
Yes.
Gettysburg, pretty much everything is part of the battlefield. I mean, the downtown, everything. They say that if you just take random pictures downtown, once in a while they pick up a spirit apparition, as well as all the battlefields and all the other places you can go. It's really kind of a cool thing. We also, like I know my wife and I, we were driving around, we stopped at some of the battlefields, and just huge expanses of grass where you had to think to yourself, wow, how many thousands of people died here? And I know, if you're lucky enough, I had a good friend who went out to where the battlefields were at 2 a.m., which wasn't allowed. But he could see apparitions going up and down a hill. And he also could see apparitions walking around these cannon. And I've seen pictures, but I just saw a video just the other day of the apparitions moving around the cannons. 'Cause they have cannons everywhere. When you're in Gettysburg, that's one of the things they decorate with. So It's really interesting. The whole area is very interesting. And the reunion is, like I said, a chance for all the Taps families to get together. And the first night is Friday night. They do these ghost hunts, and they do a bus tour and just various things like that. And then the next day, they have a big dinner that night, which was it was a beautiful place, and it was a lot of fun. That's where the Jason Hawes and Sherry and Steve Gonzalez, they were all there. And we got to have a picture taken with them. And then just a chance to interact. And we even picked up possibly a couple members who want to join us. So it was a very interesting, fun event. What do you two or three have to say?
Well, it was funny. After you and your wife left, Jason and Steve got up and were taking questions. They were hilarious. I swear, if these two give up ghost hunting, they could go into comedy. They cracked me up.
Well, I saw both of them. They were at the Rialto down in Joliet. And first there was a meet and greet ahead of time, which had a huge line. And you pay extra for that. But then, yeah, they're up on stage. They were pretty funny. Just all the stories and talking about, different things. And I was always impressed that the one Halloween special they did, I forgot which port it was on the East Coast. I guess you always think of it like we go and it's in your car or whatever. They had 16 semis of equipment. And, just to film it all. Also, I know Jason was making fun of Steve because apparently Steve passed gas on national live TV. And just various interesting things. But they had stories. And kind of like most groups, they've gone through different people. I think only Jason's the original left. Grant Wilson, which was one of the people that started with him, he kind of retired and he's doing music and poetry and whatever. And the other people just kind of swung through. And one thing I thought was interesting wasn't about this trip, but Steve Gonzalez, who's ghost hunted, forever, it took him like 12 years to see his first apparition because everybody always asks you, did you see anything? I said, well, no, you don't really see things. It's more likely you're going to hear them or catch them on recorders. But you're not really going to see like ghosts. Or the only people that really see stuff usually are the ones who live or work there. But I thought it was interesting how long he had to wait before he finally saw something. So anyways, we, like I said, that night we had dinner. Got the team picture taken with the TV people. They wandered around and talked to people, their pictures taken. There was a big picture taken, the entire group. Unfortunately, I missed it because my wife's not a ghost hunter, so she much ate dinner. It's like, okay, time to go. And next time I'm not going to miss it, though. There was talk the next one might be at Mansfield, which is a famous prison in Ohio. So we'll see. And it might go back. They're asking whether we want to do this every year or every other year. There was a survey on the web. I don't know if y'all saw it.
I didn't see that.
I did. I voted.
What do you vote for?
Oh, every year. I'd love to go every year if I could.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I voted for every other year just because the amount of work that must go into that, does go into that, is incredible. So putting a lot of pressure on the people who run it.
That's a good point.
That's true.
Plus, it depends where they hold it, how much the travel is. Like this was Gettysburg. I know Andrew, Chris, and Ron drove. It was like a 12-hour drive. And my wife and I flew into BWI, the Baltimore Washington International Airport. and then drove over from there. It was like an hour and a half. I thought it was kind of funny, by the way. I found out that Jason had flown into BWI. He posted later on he had one of the worst travel experiences of his life. He said he spent 2.5 hours sitting on the plane waiting to leave. And sitting on the plane is one of the worst things you can do. It's when you're in the terminal, at least you can walk around, get something to eat, whatever. But we were just sitting on a plane. Of course, that's better than no plane at all. One of my relatives likes to joke about, he posts pictures of like the gate with no plane at it going, another invisible plane. So, but yeah, but I thought it was, like I said, overall, a really well worth experience. And I was very proud of us being there because, again, it's hard to become a member of the Taps family. We'd
It
applied
is.
like 3 times, and the first 2 times I blamed myself that the website was a little bit out of date. And I found out later that's one of the things I look at to make sure you're a current club, that you stay active. So
You
now,
also have to be a member. You have to be in existence for at least 5 years, from what I remember.
I didn't
And
know that part,
not
but
a lot
that
of
makes
people get
sense.
there. Yeah. You also you have to you have to have a well-designed website. You have
Yeah.
to have a way for people to contact you. Um, you have to have references, from what I remember, from past clients,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, there's a lot of different requirements.
Even though the reference part is, to me, was always like a puzzler. Who really is a past client?
It's
Because we go
true.
to a lot of places you pay to hunt, big places. So residences, that to me, that's what a client would be, is a residence.
hmm
So,
That's what I would think.
and I'm very proud of our website. Any of you who have not been there, it's ghosttip.com, GHOSTTIP. I spent a lot of effort, and I did not design it. I started, we had a real basic one to begin with, but spent a lot of effort to keep it up and make it really nice. One thing I always specified, because I ended up using some consultants, was no flaming skulls, no dancing skeletons, no, we're not Halloween. I want it to be professional, but also, paranormal related. So, and I think we've achieved that.
I would say so.
We're also big on our
Yeah.
Facebook page, by the way. If anybody who wants to, you're probably watching this on Facebook, but anybody who wants to look at it, that's how we communicate the most, even with each other.
Plus, we have an email. What do you call it? An email.
Address?
You can subscribe now to us on email, which I think it's really important for groups to have a strong web presence, especially if they want to be active in the community, which is good.
We have, there's a contact form on the website that most people use to get a hold of me. There's a phone number too, but most people don't call. And the number, by the way, is a Google Voice number, which rolls to my phone, but it's not exactly my number. I used to use my number, but I got a lot of weird calls. So, a lot of lonely people. That's one thing that struck me about Facebook, is how many lonely people are on Facebook. But I had gotten a lot of calls of people just wanting to talk, and with weird stories. But the devil's living in my laundry room. I was like, well, don't do laundry then. But the other guy was possessed by a former girlfriend who was a lingerie football player. And she was bi and had 3 boyfriends or whatever, and 3 girlfriends. And I just listened to this going, So,
Wow, that's
anyway,
different.
we're moving past the subject, but so please check out our Facebook page and give us a like, and check out our webpage. And yeah, we got a newsletter going now, which is something I've been trying to do. And it's gotten a lot of positive response. So where would you all want to go on a reunion?
Hmm.
Do you have a favorite spot?
I'd like to go to Waverly Hills myself.
That'd be good. I don't think they've been there. They've been to Illinois
How about you?
Beach. I don't know if any of you, I looked it up once, but there's a haunted place at Illinois Beach.
Oh, okay.
But
I didn't realize that.
I personally, one of my bucket lists is the Queen Mary. And I actually might go there by myself, or not by myself, but this summer, my daughter lives like an hour and a half away. So when we go visit her, I'm going to spend one night and go over to Queen Mary and hopefully get the haunted room. Because for a while, they'd stopped allowing you access to the haunted room because people were stealing
Really?
everything in sight. They said they had people
Oh my
screwing
gosh.
the plaques off the walls. So they just put a big piece of plexiglass in front and you could just look. I said, I don't want to just look. So, but anyways, contacted them again. They said, oh yeah, we're back to running it. So that'd be good. There's lots of other places. I stayed at the Stanley for a week. And nothing happened, even though we're staying
A
at
week?
supposedly the most haunted room in the Stanley. But we didn't have anything happen.
I took my best friend up there. She is a complete skeptic. She's like, I don't believe in any of this. We went into the concert hall. She's like, Chris, I know I don't believe in any of this, but I'm feeling something here. So that was interesting.
Well, I got to stay a week at the Stanley because when I retired, my staff bought me a gift certificate to the Stanley because it'd only
That's
been the
so
last year
cool.
or two I admitted to them that I was a ghost hunter. Usually, if someone asked me what I was doing, I'd be like, I'm going out of town for the weekend. Not saying I was going to a abandoned hospital or something like that. I was just saying I'm going out of town. But no, they got me a good gift certificate and we went out. Plus, I've been up to the Rocky Mountain National Park and I love that. So it was a chance to combine both. But yeah, it was really neat. So I wouldn't mind, like I said, I wouldn't mind going to the Queen Mary for a reunion. And I wonder if they've been to the Stanley. I don't think they have. But so where would you want to go, Andrew?
Gosh. The one place I've heard that might be more haunted than Gettysburg is, for some reason, Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
I've gone as a little kid, but I haven't gone as an adult. And I would love to be able to go down there and investigate some places, and maybe a reunion would give me that chance. They have some really haunted houses. They have some really haunted inns, some really haunted cemeteries. That would be really cool. That's definitely on my bucket list.
I was supposed to go there for work. And then something
Really.
happened and I couldn't go. I was disappointed. Also, the first place, living in Chicago, it's the first place I ever found where I could not fly direct to Savannah. Every flight you had to stop somewhere. But not that that mattered, but it was just interesting to me since I was so used to always flying direct. So, Ron, where would you like to go?
First place that popped into my head was the Stanley. Other than that, might be interesting to investigate down in New Orleans.
Yeah, I went there a lot because, again, my daughter, my son-in-law went to medical school at Tulane. So I ended up going to New Orleans a lot. And now I miss it because I miss the food. But I also got to stay twice at the Myrtles Plantation. And
Oh,
that was
nice.
interesting. First time I went by myself, and I was in my room just waiting for it to be a little bit darker to go ghost hunting. It was only late afternoon, actually. It wasn't midnight. And I heard a baby crying. And I thought nothing of it because it's a B&B. So I figured, it's just another family. Well, the next day I mentioned it to the people who worked there, and they said, there's no baby here. And they were all excited. In fact, they all kept telling each other because everybody ran into it, kept saying, "We heard you heard a baby." And yeah. And then the other thing that happened, I went back with my wife. And again, she's not a ghost hunter, but we were in our room and I had a K2 going, got nothing on the recorder until there was a big, whoops, you can't see me, big, my hand up, big door jams or whatever back then. They're old, they're like 2 inches. And my wife tripped on it and the K2 went boing all the way to red and stayed red for quite a while. So then my wife comes back out of the bedroom where she tripped falling into it, and she goes, "Say what you did again that got it to go off." I said, "They were laughing at you." I said, "They saw you trip." I said, "It wasn't." I didn't say anything. So sure enough, she asked. She says, "Were you all laughing at me?" And it goes back to red again. It was really interesting.
Oh
We didn't
my
get any
gosh.
EVPs. Nothing else happened, but that was cool. So
That is
Very cool.
does anybody have anything else to say about the reunion or anything else?
I will just say, growing up with these people on my television, and one of they were the original people who really inspired me to do ghost hunting. It was just really cool to be there, and it was a really big. I would say it's a big honor to be there. So,
It really is, yeah.
yeah. So overall, I'm just really happy to be a part of a group like TIP that's so um, that's has such prominence in Illinois and is so well put together enough to be able to be a part of the Taps family. So it made me feel lucky to be a part of my group, and it made me feel really honored to be a part of the Taps family. So I'm looking forward to next time personally.
Yeah, quite a few people that contact me now mention us being a member of the Taps family. They said they saw that and that impressed them. So either people wanting to join or people wanting us to do something. So I thought that was great. Thank you all. And thanks for listening. Check us out on the web or check us out on the Facebook and let us know you were there.